3 overdoses a day. That's what Lorain police tell me they average, which means they need to use these drug testing kits more often. Kids beaten with extension cords, tased, and forced to eat dog feces. Police just arrested 2 women accused of seriously abusing 3 kids. Driving around, take a look at these roads. Now, I've been showing you the main roads most of the morning, but I just wanted to show you this. This is a side road, side street here. Check this out. I put together a map here showing more than 60 local smash and grabs that have happened, both successes and failures. Guns, violence, kids caught in the crossfire, parents blaming the city blaming parents. There was a little line outside, but it's still relatively quiet for it to be Black Friday morning. Some stores aren't even open. If you can see here, J.B. Robinson is closed. There's a couple other stores. Or this massive cloud coming from this guy. How about this ladder here forcing its way outside the house? Yeah, Katie, the women tell me the man showed up with keys, even let them look around the apartments, then had them sign documents with the local company's name on it. But today, those women are out of money and a home. Oh, keep your eyes out for the hottest tickets in town. Sales for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony start February 8th. Prices range from $90 to $500. The ceremony is April 14th. This year's inductees include Bon Jovi, The Cars, and Nina Simone.
But cities like Lorain still allow field tests on a case-by-case basis, and in that city where officers deal with dozens of overdoses every month, that's not all officers have to deal with. In a News 5 exclusive, Lauren Wilson spent an evening with Lorain officers to see how the heroin epidemic is changing their job.
3 overdoses a day. That's what Lorain police tell me they average, which means they need to use these drug testing kits more often.
You never know what we're going to get into.
Expecting the unexpected.
They usually happen in rapid fashion.
That's what Lorain Patrol Officer Brent Payne's night was like.
This is an overdose that we're responding to. Just let them do what they got to do, okay?
2 overdoses in just under 2 hours. This man, seemingly dead, gets Narcan and suddenly wakes up.
What's your name? All right. You all right? Yeah, you overdosed, man.
Then, within minutes, walks over to the gurney.
In the past 5 years, I've administered Narcan, including today, 42 times.
Those numbers underscoring just how policing has changed in a short time.
We would respond to heroin overdoses, but not as frequent as we're doing it today.
And still evolving for officers taking samples from crime scenes.
And you crush these 2 vials, you shake it up. If it turns green, usually a good indication of heroin.
How drug testing in the field after an OD or arrest would go. Now,
if the officer doesn't feel safe enough to test it, then we can package it up properly and we'll send it out to the lab. So it's not imperative that we test it right then and there if we feel that there's a safety issue. What did you take? Did you take heroin?
Lauren Wilson, News 5.
New at 6 tonight, women and children, no money, no home, right in the middle of this holiday season. They say they were fooled by a local company, but the company's owner says not so fast. News 5's Lauren Wilson tries to get answers about exactly what happened.
Like, I still gotta struggle to get Christmas gifts now, but it's like, Christmas or am I moving?
Kiana Williams said she had to make that tough choice after losing $475 on an apartment that never existed.
My kids, they were so excited.
The big stuff first.
Mina Gilcrease can relate.
It was so confusing because it's like I did my research. I thought everything seemed legit.
Legit until move-in day. These apartment listings were posted on social media and Craigslist. And according to these police reports, the women paid deposits, application fees, even first month's rent. The man accused, Otis Simmons Jr., who said he was the property manager.
He had keys to these units. He had paperwork for the application that had the company name on it.
When it was move-in day, Simmons was nowhere to be found.
We all have kids. Like, that's what made it so bad.
We kept everything on the U-Haul for 4 days while listening to him tell us that it would be ready the next day.
We went looking for Simmons, but only caught him for a few seconds on the phone.
Hi, is this Otis?
Before he hung up.
Otis?
Simmons told the women he worked for M&I Properties Development, a company that owns more than a dozen properties, a company that's also very difficult to track down. It has no current address, working number, or website. Finally, I tracked down owner Mark Mazurko in Florida, who said Simmons had worked for the company, but not as a property manager. How do you feel about the fact that he was using your company name?
The unfortunate part about it is, you can't stop evil people. They say, hey, you own all these buildings and all these apartments and houses. What are you doing for us? But I'm a victim as well.
Right now, Warrensville Heights Police has a warrant out for Simmons' arrest. They say he's on the run. He has several misdemeanor charges against him in the past. The company says they are currently trying to find housing for the women. As of right now, though, they are still looking for a place, and they have yet to get that money back from what they gave Simmons. Lauren Wilson, News 5.
In just months, a Stark County community has lost 6 young lives, teens who killed themselves. And that has teens turning to their pastors for answers about what happens to their souls after they die.
Only on News 5, Lauren Wilson learns churches in and around Perry Township are changing how they react to focus on what's happening while they're living.
It is a really difficult topic, and it's been really, really hard on the people of our church and our community.
Suicide is hard, and for Perry High School students like Allie Temsey,
it's upsetting because, we're walking the halls with fewer and fewer students each day.
It's confusing.
We're growing up with the heaven-hell permanent choice, and they're teaching us that, but they're not actually teaching us how to get out of that state of mind.
That's where Reverend Timothy Shaw is stepping in.
That idea of suicide being like the one sin that will automatically condemn you to hell, I think, is born out of a bad understanding of scriptures.
An understanding he's trying to change. Reverend Shaw views the church like a hospital, focusing on the mental and emotional health and well-being of each person.
People are understanding more and more that the human body is a whole being. You can't separate the physical from the mental and the emotional, and the scriptures teach us that, but we've somehow lost that.
And he's not alone.
For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord.
In 2012, a national congregation study found 23% of the nation's houses of worship provided mental health programming. Compare that to just 8% in 2006.
We're all in it together.
In light of the recent suicides, students tell me right now, more than ever, they need hope.
I know lots of kids, they're pretty depressed.
Everybody is scared because they don't know what news they're going to hear next.
Reverend Shaw says that the churches here in Stark County are already getting together, trying to figure out how they can better serve the mental and emotional needs of their youth here and how to point them toward hope. In Perry, Lauren Wilson, News 5.
A 12-year-old taken too soon because of an act of violence, and now police seem to be getting some answers as the investigation unfolds into the shooting death of 12-year-old Abdel Bashidi and the 5 other teens injured that night.
Cleveland police have identified 2 more shooters connected to a shooting on the east side. 21-year-old Larissa Harris was taken into custody yesterday, and after questioning, police charged her with aggravated murder. And we've learned 18-year-old Devon Harris, who they say was in the area when the shootout happened last Friday night, is also in custody. He and 2 15-year-olds face the same charges. Well, it caught Bashidi in the crossfire, and he was just standing outside of his family's business. It leaves us all asking, why is a crime like this happening? News 5's Lauren Wilson spoke with a man risking his own life to find the answer.
Guns, violence, kids caught in the crossfire, parents blaming the city blaming parents. But one leader who's been pounding the pavement for years trying to get the crime to stop says we have an even bigger issue at hand, and it's going to take more than the blame game to stop it.
I don't know, man. So there's plenty of blame to go around here. We have a responsibility as parents and as neighbors to know our children where they are.
Tonto was there the night 12-year-old Abdel Bashidi was shot and killed.
It was horrendous. It was unacceptable. It was real tragic. We had a group of maybe 3, let's say 6 kids, all right, that saw each other and just opened fire.
Groups affiliated with heartless felons and gangster disciples, 2 of Cleveland's deadliest gangs.
We have brothers out here that are misled
and manipulated. Most kids are recruited by the time they're just 13 years old.
I knew, I had to say no.
Like this 15-year-old, whose identity we're not revealing. Gang members attend school not to learn, but to snatch kids out. Heartless felons tried it on him last year.
I know the concepts of how to get into it and stuff, but it just scared me, I didn't want to do it.
That takes a lot of courage to turn it down. Were you scared to turn it down?
Kinda, sorta.
But his gut was stronger.
My family could have been killed, could have put my family in bad positions. That's all I'm worried about is my family.
Going door to door with his nonprofit Society for Nonviolent Change, trying to stop the crimes. Tonto says his fight is for justice for kids like him, to restore what's been lost in the community.
We got to stop pointing the finger at one another, and we got to come together and do some work.
Now, given the situation that happened here last Friday and knowing the streets, Tonto told me he fears a retaliation shooting is in the future, which is why he's calling out community leaders, pastors, and other neighbors in the community to come down and bring programs and jobs to kids in the community to get them off the streets and into something productive. Lauren Wilson, News 5.
As the manhunt went on, the family at the center of this shooting we're talking about was waiting on word on how all of this would end. News 5's Lauren Wilson is outside of one of Godwin Sr.'s daughter's home. Lauren, go ahead and tell us how the family is processing all of this tonight.
You know, as you can imagine, it's been an emotional roller coaster the past couple days for the family, and today is no exception. I spoke with Godwin's granddaughter, who told me while there's peace, there's also a void, and that void is justice.
The way it happened, I don't agree with. I wish they would have caught him before he did that.
Cody Baines told me that this afternoon, just hours after hearing the news that Facebook shooter Steve Stevens was found dead after taking his own life.
Just an easy way out, versus suffering the way my grandfather did. It's just like he get the good way out, but, he just was sitting there suffering,
She told me it hasn't hit her fully yet, as she's been trying to be strong for her mom and the rest of the family. But it's yet another blow.
The fact that I had to see it, so it would have been different if, I heard about it and there was no video posted, but the fact that I had to watch it was just it's mind-blowing.
The past 2 days now, she tells me they've been a nervous wreck, wondering where he could be.
Just scared, just afraid, is he gonna come here?
But even if he were brought into custody, she told me she and her family would only have one thing to tell him.
We forgive you.
But now it's time to move on. She told me the best way they're trying to do that is relying on family and friends to lift them up where they're in need.
That's what our grandfather taught us to do, was to forgive, no matter what.
Now, I'm told right now Robert Godwin's children, including Cody's mom, Tanya, are at the funeral home right now making arrangements. There's no specifics right now on what those arrangements will be and when they will happen. In Macedonia, Lauren Wilson, News 5.
Forgive no matter what. Well, we'll have continuing coverage of the latest developments coming up in just a few minutes for you.